Greetings, YouTube. I know that the term survivalist has fallen out of favor. That word is viewed as being a little too military obsessed and a little less survivalist obsessed, believe it or not. And now the proper word is prepper. People who want to be prepared for the end of the world as we know it, which seems absurd. Now, being prepared for a storm or not having power for a few days, that kind of makes sense. And even though I collect and heck, I make things that could be fall into the category of both survivalists and preppers and the SHTF, shit hit the fan variety of folks, I actually don't want to see the end of the world. I don't. It's just not my thing. For me, it's purely an aesthetic. But guess what? Amongst many preppers, it's also an aesthetic. It's LARPing. Now, unfortunate subsets of this are the people that really want the world to end. They're looking forward to the great social upheavals, whether they are for natural environment, say storms and earthquakes and meteors from the sky, or it's more along the lines of the classic race riots. And the folks that look forward to those are not ones I want to spend time with. But they also obsess about their clothing. There's an article here talking about the prepper obsession with clothes, which was the inspiration for this film. Now, or should I say video, it's not a film. And I don't have an obsession with clothing. I like my clothing, and I've discovered over time what type of clothing I like to wear. I like cargo pants for my weekends, and I've come to really like the rig Wranglers. They're upper end, tougher than normal style pants, and also the Duluth Trading Company's fire hose cargo pants, which are also very durable. They have a particular type of layout of pockets and things that I really like. But they're not survivalist pants. They let me carry gear effectively where I want it to be, my phone and things like that on me without any problem. I don't have to carry my EDC bag on the weekends. I don't carry my EDC bag very often. I just take it to work most of the time. And I happen to just like the way the pockets are laid out on the pants and how they operate. Plain and simple. The only thing I don't like about the rig Wranglers, is the back pocket doesn't have a snap, and I'm planning on fixing that at some point in the future. I'd have to get my button gear. But they're cotton, and the cotton pants are not great for survival because the cotton gets wet, and once your pants are wet, you are in danger. But then again, I'm never in survival situations. Very rarely am I ever in a situation that is going to require me to be in a survival situation. I have some tools in the event that I find myself in a short-term level of distress, but I'm not looking forward to the end of the world, and I'm not preparing for the end of the world. I would like it to continue. Thank you very much. But a lot of folks are obsessed with the clothing and the gear. And some of them do it just because they really are prepared for the end of the world, or at least for short-term disasters. They live in an environment, say, rural farming and things like that, where being isolated is something that can happen very quickly. But folks that live in cities, such as myself, survival situations as they are preparing for are unlikely. I watch a couple of different channels here on YouTube that deal with people who are into prepping to one degree or another. Survival Russia and Survival Lily are two channels, for example. And I find occasionally the comments in both of those channels very disturbing, because there is very much a white supremacist preparing for the race wars vibe to it. Surviving in an urban environment, expecting the upheaval that's going to come when, I don't know, the UN troops show up someday and they're trying to take over. Though I have to tell you, I may prefer the UN troops at this point to the Nazi regime currently in power in America, but that's just me. But the whole apocalypse chic thing, looking like you are prepared for the end, even when you're not prepared for the end. But if the end comes, those that are going to be most prepared for this are probably going to be the reenactors like the SCA. Because I know people, and I've known some of them for decades, who really can survive in a society without electricity. They know how to do it. And And that's the key. Can you survive? And most of the people that are into apocalypse chic cannot. They can talk the talk, they cannot walk the walk. And then, at least in my case, I don't talk the talk. I know I can't walk the walk. May I survive a little bit longer than some other people? Maybe. I've got some good gear. Do I want to be in a situation like that? Not in the least. And do I want the people who are eagerly awaiting the end times to be in charge? No, I do not. So, let's talk about apocalypse chic. Let's talk about looking like you are prepared for the end times, as opposed to, say, helping to preserve the rights and the privileges and the humanity of our current society, so that we can all function and be healthy and happy in the future. Why don't we put our efforts there instead of preparing individually for the end times? Why don't we all pull ourselves together and listen to those three most beautiful words that have ever been written in the United States? We the people. That's a better end for me, right there. Why don't we make sure that the government functions and we all can be happy in the future? But in the meantime, let's talk about looking like one is prepared for the end times, when in fact, you are not.